Hello.
Precious, as we like to call him. Or at least we started calling him last week.
I go by many names.
Yeah.
There's a story.
Yeah,
There's a story there, right?
You know it. Always a story.
No sound on my earphones when I'm not supposed to.
Nope, you should. Why am I getting on this back?
Probably because the mic's really messed up.
No.
You blew it up.
Maybe you don't use headphones. Sorry about that. You can still hear us though.
Yeah.
Well, you're right there.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
All right. Well, as usual, the show starts off with some technical difficulties, but we're good. We have a very special guest, Lillith ThreeFeathers, with us. I've heard nothing but great things about you from Tina, and then after I posted that you were on tonight, I had several friends around the community. A friend of mine, Chris Rowan.
Oh, Chris.
Yeah. I worked with him on different paranormal investigations. He's a good friend of ours. Had nothing but nice things to say. Everybody seems to love you.
Everybody loves that.
And just, since I've just been emailing you a couple times, I love you too.
Oh, well, I'll be good tonight then.
Oh, there you go. We don't have to be
No,
real
don't
good.
be good.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit bad.
I'm just getting the intro over and over again.
Yeah.
We are radio without rules, so
Oh,
we
that's good. I've been known to break a few.
yeah. But let me see. Let me get comments going here, so just in case we got questions coming up.
I can't
All
find
right.
it.
What's that?
It just keeps replaying the intro.
No, I'm not sure what the. We're going live on here now, so
Oh, you're not live yet?
no, we're live, and I'm getting comments already. So, all right.
The spirits.
They hate me.
No, you are a lady who wears many hats.
I have a couple, yeah.
I looked at your bio description. You're a shaman. You're a healer. You have a lot of hats at home.
I only brought one. I don't know why everybody's laughing.
You're a shaman. You're a healer. You're a psychic. As the psychic part, I just want to know, when you entered the building, did you feel anything?
There were a lot of children running around, so
Okay.
I can't say that I
Yeah,
did,
they were bothering me too.
because I noticed the loud children.
Uh-huh.
And
Oh, shit.
And the ones that
If you-
banged into me. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you're asking if there's spirits around, well, there's always spirits around. So
Yeah, true. Well, there's this. We've heard some things and felt some things while we were in here. I was just wondering if you picked up on anything when you came in.
so far, nobody's been
Okay.
really annoying.
I haven't really started talking yet.
Nice.
I'm still trying to figure out how to get on Facebook here.
So I don't even know where to start, because you sent. I'm actually using notes tonight, guys.
Oh, geez.
Like, I have notes. Normally I
Nerd.
just roll. Yeah, nerd.
I have a copy of your notes.
Oh, okay. Well, good.
Do you need to read them
But-
too?
You know, what reality am I in now?
Probably a bad one right here. I can't find this.
Well, it's okay. You need to focus on the show, sir.
You know I can't do that.
So let's go back. When did all this start happening for you? When did you start getting? When did this journey start?
Okay, well,
You don't have to give me years. Just
no, I won't. I can, but I won't. So I guess my first teacher was my grandfather.
oh, nice.
I was a toddler, and he would
Uh-huh.
take me outside and tell me about the world and
Uh-huh.
tell me mythology and stories. And he was from Wales, so he would tell me what now would be considered Celtic shamanism.
Okay.
But I put that in air quotes because he would never call it that,
Right.
And he would tell me about how he believed the world functioned and how you could tell things that were going to happen by the birds and
Mhm.
by what the clouds were doing and stuff. So, I just grew up around it.
Mhm.
And then Probably when I was about 10, I discovered the library.
Oh,
And
love the library.
yes. And this was back in the days when people were supposed to, children were supposed to stay in the children's section.
Hmm.
And certain books were locked up in other rooms.
So it's like Harry Potter. We have the restricted section.
Yes,
That us kids weren't
yes.
allowed to go into.
There were several restricted sections, right? And of course, that's where I wanted to be.
Oh, absolutely.
And so the librarians called my parents and they said she can read whatever she wants.
Uh-huh.
So that was nice because
Yeah.
I did. I started reading anthropology books and books about ancient Egypt and Mayan civilization and all that stuff.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, that was the beginning. And then fast forward a lot of years. In the 70s, okay, I just gave away how old I am, didn't I? In the 70s, I started doing what would be now considered mediumship and shamanic things. Although I got into trouble as a child
Uh-oh.
for talking to the dead people.
Uh-huh.
And my parents said I had a vivid imagination. And like the one story that they always told at family reunions was that I would bring my mother flowers and she would ask me where I got them. And I would tell her that the woman didn't want them anymore. She was done with them.
Oh.
And she would say, "What woman?" And I'd say, "The woman who lives across the street down,
Uh-huh.
you know, in that big building." And that was the place where the funeral home was.
Oh, okay.
So my mother
Yeah.
was not happy for some reason
No?
that I brought her these flowers. I never understood why.
Yeah.
Good waste.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly. The woman said she didn't want them anymore.
Wow. So I'm going to go back to explain. I sort of think I know what a shaman is.
I don't.
You don't?
Nope.
Okay. Well, he doesn't. I know the word and I know the term and I sort of understand it.
Okay.
Explain to us what there's our
There's a drag race.
hot rodder that goes down the street. Explain to us what shamanism is.
Okay. Well, I would call it a way of life. It's a way of looking at the world. Within shamanism, everything has a spirit.
Mm.
So everything has a spirit. We're not just talking about ghosts.
Right.
We're talking about rocks and trees, and people and animals and birds and places. They
Right.
all have spirit and they're all interconnected and interlinked into this universe, into this world.
Mhm.
Now, in addition to that, shamans can go into other realities, what would be called sacred realities or other worlds, depending upon what terminology you want to use.
Yeah.
And they can go into those places and do things there that affects this reality. So if they go over and do some work for a person in another reality, it will help the person in this reality.
Mhm.
And they can get messages and interact directly with beings in the other realities who may or may not be dead.
Okay. What do you mean by so beings? Okay. Like are we
Beings?
talking like spiritual beings?
They
Like
could be spiritual beings
Okay.
like Jesus or Buddha,
Okay.
or
Good and helpful spirits.
good and helpful spirits.
Okay.
Yes.
Guides.
Guides,
Yeah.
spirit guides,
Angels.
animals, any of the above. Yeah. So that's the nice thing about shamanism
Mhm.
is that it's an active thing.
okay.
That once somebody learns how to do shamanic techniques, shamanic practices, they can actively go and meet their spirit guide
Yeah.
or get to know somebody
Mhm.
who was their ancestor 100 years ago.
Oh wow.
So, yeah.
Now, is this something that anybody can practice, or is it you have to be born with a special gift?
Well, anybody can practice it. Whether or
Mhm.
not they're successful at it depends. Most people who practice shamanic things are only doing things for themselves.
Okay.
A lot of the Michael Harner, who is considered the grandfather of modern shamanism, that is one that's not indigenous. He started the Foundation for Shamanic Studies, and his goal was to make it available to Western people who weren't doing any indigenous practice.
Interesting.
And of course, it's gone on from there.
Yeah. Is this, you said this expands among different religions, or is it all encompassing? I mean,
Well, you can be any religion and do the practices.
okay.
When it becomes a lifestyle, this is the thing. People can do shamanic practices and not be chosen as a shaman or not be called to be a shaman.
Yeah.
The spirits decide that.
Okay.
Now, in indigenous village cultures, the community would decide whether or not somebody was a real shaman, because that would be based upon if they were actually capable of doing work, helping the people, finding food, figuring out where was a good place to spend the winter.
Yeah.
You know, things that are not really important in the modern era,
Gotcha.
you know, contemporary times.
Yeah.
So now we look survival,
Yeah.
right? It was very much about survival. Now it's more about things like being healthy in a world that's pretty insane,
Yeah.
and working with people in order to heal soul loss and heal the energy loss that they have from living our crazy lifestyles where everybody is, I mean, I don't want to lecture.
No,
Oh,
that's
lecture.
why we're here.
Where everybody is dealing with a world where they're sleep deprived, where they don't hardly ever go out into nature. They don't really interact with each other as a community. You know, you pretty much maybe text your best friend,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we don't have the same interactions. And this causes what the indigenous shamans would call a mental illness for us.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they all think we're sick.
Yeah.
I would agree with him.
Yeah.
They have a really bad joke that they think is funny.
Oh, yeah.
They say that we are, especially in the US and the Western cultures, are on a highway driving fast to nowhere.
That makes sense.
They think it's funny.
I think it's,
Sad.
yeah, it's sad. I mean, it
is-
makes sense, and I get the humor behind it, but it's true.
Yeah, it's a
People are
dark humor.
terribly unhappy in
Yeah.
this world.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, look at Michael.
He's the poster boy for.
He is.
Well, and then you look at the fact that people. There's something going on here I don't know about, isn't there?
No, this is how the show. Like when I warned her.
Just rag on Michael.
I warned her like in
this thing is
email
heavy.
message. I'm like, just to prepare you. We are respectful, but we're never 100% serious.
Oh, that's
And
fine.
Michael and I spend most of the time just ragging on each other.
Oh, cool. Good to know.
Yeah.
So feel free.
Okay.
Feel free.
Okay. All right.
We're both targets. It's fine. We
Yeah.
pick on if you
I
guys
go
don't,
after
we
the
will-
people on the Facebook thing, and you guys come after me.
Oh, okay. Are there people on Facebook saying things?
Hey.
Just a lot of
I like
hello.
I love it.
Let's see. Meshell sending you love, light, peace, happiness, joy, and laughter, and good earth or good health.
Wonderful.
Good earth.
Wonderful. Thank you, Michelle.
Yes, thank you very much. I put that up. It's really cool on the screen. Like I could put people's comments up on the screen as we're talking. So
These things are heavy.
Yeah.
yeah, they are. I apologize.
That's all right.
They're very.
I wasn't expecting that. So what else do you want to know?
I'll just talk.
Oh, just talk.
No.
Oh,
Let me pull out my notes here.
Here's something I'm supposed to talk about.
Yes,
I
let's talk
can't
about your
forget.
book. I did
don't
say
know.
you're an author.
I don't know where you want me to put it.
That's fine, but you know what? I also have this fancy thing where I can put it up on the.
Oh, there he goes. He's
page.
got you all set.
Okay, so I can just hold it then
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
All right. So this is a book I co-authored with my good friend Joy Marie Wedmedic. And we researched this book for 5 years. It was definitely a labor of love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We-
absolutely. I will back that up.
Yeah.
We worked like really
Yes.
hard on that.
Every day at noon, we would start.
Uh-huh.
And no matter where we were, we would, talk by phone or whatever. and sometimes in person, but every day. And we would talk about interviews with people, and it's mostly within the pagan community, but it's the heart of the elder, good elders, and their influence. We wanted to do a book that was about how elders help with communities, how they teach in communities, because so much of that has been lost in mainstream culture. But within pagan culture, and I'm using that term very loosely, elders are still very important. The high priest, high priestess, the head of the coven,
Sure.
they are very important as teachers and people who explain how things are done. So we went to the pagan community, and we got as big a diversity as we could, asking questions. And then we used quotes from 30 different people in the book, plus a lot of stuff we wrote. And so, hey, buy it. I hope you like it.
Is it available on Amazon or?
It's available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble in this country.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll touch base. We'll show that up again later too.
Cool. Thank you.
So paganism, are you a certain, I know there's different factions or I don't know, belief systems. I know, Tina, you're Wiccan.
Yep.
You practice Wiccan. I'm learning about Asatru.
Okay. All right.
Slowly. Were you going to say, you raised your, oh, never mind. I thought you raised
I'm
your
not
hand.
learning about anything.
You're learning about everything.
That's true. By not learning about everything, I'm learning about everything.
There you go.
Okay, there you go.
That's very
All right.
existential.
I want that on a t-shirt.
By learning nothing, I learn everything.
There you go.
I like it.
That was a pretty cool t-shirt. So do you conform to one practice in the Wiccan or the pagan community? Do you follow one path, or do you kind of mix and match?
I wear many hats. Okay. In addition to being a shaman and having initiations in shamanic traditions, I am initiated to two goddesses. One is Lillith, who gave me the name. And the other is I have an initiation in what's called Regla de Ocha, which is also called Lakumi, commonly called Santeria, but that's an umbrella term. And I'm initiated to Yamoya and a few other Orishas there. So, but my main Orisha is Yamoya. So, so I practice what would be considered the goddess tradition of spirituality. Been doing that also since the 70s. And then I also practice the Lakumi as far as my religion goes. So I work with the Orishas. That's also includes a large proportion of working with my ancestors in addition to that.
That it sounds so awesome. I mean, it just I don't know, like I know that's like a horrible, like really like bad term to use. Not very spiritual, but that's how
I like awesome. Awesome is cool.
It's just it sounds amazing, but like some of it just goes like right over my head. But I'm trying to learn. You know, I've been, like I said, I've been kind of reading books on Asatru, just kind of getting the stories.
Nice.
Nice. You know, I keep a small version of the Havamal with me because I just like reading through and just like randomly picking a verse.
That's very cool.
That's Odinist sayings. There you go.
Very cool. Very cool. Well done. I like how you didn't even have to verbalize that.
Yeah, he knows.
But I think there's just so much to learn. It's almost overwhelming.
Well, there is, yeah. Now, the goddess tradition came out of the old women's movement. So we're talking around the same time that Wicca was brought into this country. The goddess practices were brought into this country too, from Europe. And it's essentially was started as a way to balance out the patriarchal religion that was so dominant in this country. That probably developed more. A lot of people who got into that went into Dianic Wicca,
Mhm.
and then a lot of the others went into different branches of Wicca. I sound like I'm muttering.
No, you
No,
don't.
I'm like I'm
Oh, good.
hooked on every word.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, and the Dianic Wicca was huge back in
It was. It
the
was.
mid-70s to late
80s.
80s
Yeah.
in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And
Well, explain
I-
what is Dianic Wicca?
It's the worship of the goddess Diana.
Okay.
Many of the covens were, what's the word I want? They lived exclusively female lifestyles. So doctors were female, their dentists
Okay.
were female.
Oh,
they
wow.
weren't necessarily lesbian, but they were separatists.
Okay.
And you were not allowed to have men in your circle.
Oh wow.
And my initiation into Wicca was in a Dianic coven,
Mhm.
but I didn't do very well with the no men thing.
That's understandable.
Right?
And I'd say as women became more able to do things, I mean,
Mhm.
we have to remember that these came out of the movements in the 60s
Yeah.
when women were not able to buy houses by themselves, buy
Right.
cars by themselves, birth control was illegal. So a lot of stuff that is political now was
Yeah.
political then,
Right.
but it was viewed in a different way than it is now. Instead of
Yeah.
it being this dialogue that is set up by the Christians,
Mhm.
it's a dialogue that was set up by women. I mean, the first women marches had women marching in heels and hose. I
Mhm.
mean, they were wearing their little stockings and
Yeah.
their little hats and their, I
Yeah.
mean, go back and look at those pictures.
Yeah.
It's just kind of fascinating because
Yeah.
nowadays women probably dress up in, jeans and
Mhm.
and a leather coat if they have one.
Leather coat's always nice.
Yeah.
Yes. Fur coats.
A fur coat, whatever, something warm,
It
Mhm.
went, I feel like it went pretty quickly to, from stockings and heels and pearls to burning your damn bra in the street,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That became very, fun in the 60s.
I never saw anybody burn their bra, but there were a whole lot of women happy to give up their girdles.
Yes.
Oh, I can imagine.
Just imagine.
One thing I'm kind of, I guess it's something that I get confused with. How would you, when most people hear the word Wicca, they automatically think witches. And when they think witches, obviously there's the stereotype.
Which stereotype are you talking about? Because there's like 10 or 12 I could think of.
I thought that
right
was a
now.
joke.
Yeah, no. That's what I was like,
Which stereotype?
I was like,
well, okay, just women using that power or that magic to, I guess, seek revenge on men or use it for their own.
Oh, the feminazis.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
See,
I
this
like
is
her.
why
I love her.
this is why I get into trouble.
No,
Okay?
that's
Well,
what we want.
Frankly, I don't know too many who would have ever fit into that category, and I think that what happened is that they diversified. Women
Uh-huh.
in that movement diversified. They had partners. They wanted their partners to be in the same religious practice, spiritual practice that
Right.
they were in. So they moved out. They moved out from those beginnings.
Mhm.
But, there's still Dianic Wiccans out there,
Yeah.
and some of them
Yeah.
have men in their covens now, and some of them don't.
Right.
You know, so
See, I watch too much American Horror Story. And I watch Coven, and I just finished the Apocalypse, and the witches had this whole thing with the warlocks. There's this whole, but
Coven was the only one I watched, actually.
Puppet was the only one
Yeah.
I watched.
I mean,
The
just
rest
It was
of them are
good.
Too scary.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
agree. There you go.
Trippy. Yeah.
I guess it's just like anything. You grow up, and I grew up in a like radical, like Christian, Protestant, evangelical. The crazies, the people that were up, screaming and
the ones that
speaking
were
in tongues.
scary to me.
Yeah, right.
I grew up with.
No, we were taught
There
that
you go.
people that followed the Wiccan or called themselves witches were evil.
Yeah, well, there
But
are
it's
evil
just-
people in every religion.
Yeah.
And I can't say that I know very many Wiccans or witches who aren't wonderful people.
Yeah.
And
Everyone, every witch I've met, I love.
but it's
Even you witch.
Stop.
and he rocks that colored headphone there.
Yeah, it does.
So speaking of Wicca,
Yeah.
I should put a plug in. that
Yeah, absolutely.
I teach for the Wiccan Seminary, the
Okay.
Wolstenstein Theological Seminary,
Uh-huh.
and it's an online seminary for Wicca, and it's wiccanseminary.edu,
Okay.
and I'm an adjunct faculty member there, so I
Okay.
usually teach one class a semester.
Is this located in Ohio?
It is online.
Oh,
No.
okay. Okay.
The main church.
It's in the notes.
The main church is in.
But I'm like, so like,
They can't hear the notes.
just hold on one second.
Yeah, hold on. See, I think he's more.
The main church is located in Washington,
Okay.
but they have it's an international organization, so they have churches in Canada and
Oh,
other
cool.
countries and many states in the United States too.
And this is like an online course where you like, I mean, is it just you receive like a certificate or is it?
Yeah,
Like,
they offer degrees.
oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, but it's a Wiccan seminary,
Okay.
so
Oh, interesting.
so it's for people who want to minister
I
and
gotcha.
serve
Yeah.
the community in some way.
Okay.
They have lots of different ways of doing
So there's different levels, like when you get into it.
Mhm. Yeah, they just implemented a master's degree program
Oh, wow.
recently. I don't teach any of the Wiccan stuff since I'm not Wiccan. But
Okay.
I teach a lot of the electives.
Okay.
So I
Gotcha.
teach about shamanism, and I teach about Lillith and dreaming work and different things.
Explain Lilith. Where did because I've seen the word like what's that? Uh-oh. Am I getting myself? Did I just open up a can of worms here or something?
Like really, Lilith?
You can't really explain Lilith. But
Are you asking? You're asking about the deity Lilith, not me.
your namesake?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the term. I mean,
I've actually read up on it.
have you?
Oh,
Well, you go ahead and
my
explain.
God.
What have you read?
That's awesome.
Lilith was it was Adam's first wife, supposedly.
Wow, I didn't know that.
She didn't want to lay under a man, so she left the Garden of Eden
She was an on top girl.
to the. They said the Reed Sea, but it's the Red Sea. But
Yes, the Red Sea,
Mhm.
right? Yeah, she spent 40 days wandering in the desert and ending up at the Red Sea, a little bit 2,000 years or so before the other one did it. So
Is that your microphone? I'm
I
sorry.
don't know. I'm
No.
getting a lot of fuzz.
It's gone. Okay, cool. Sometimes somebody just like barely taps it, and
That's
the
probably
whole thing
I
goes haywire.
probably touched the cord or something. I'm
It's
sorry.
probably your energy.
I talk with my hands. I'll try to keep it in.
That's exactly what I thought. I'm like,
She can't even wear a watch.
yeah.
No,
oh, really?
no.
See, Ray's actually surprised that I actually read the notes and read more into it.
I am too. I'm very proud.
Thank you.
I am too. I'm very
I'm impressed, man.
It's awesome.
Good job.
Every once in a while.
So the story that you told is the most well-known story about her.
Yeah.
But that story, and I'm fuzzing again.
Yeah.
Okay, it's this, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
No, it's been doing this every once in a while.
Okay, well, I just won't touch anything.
Yeah, it does.
Just like jiggle the wire.
You did it. It's your touch. Okay, so what happened was Lilith has been around a long time. She was around in Sumer, Babylonia, long time. Okay. And she was taken through, I won't make this too in depth, but the worship of her spread through the area that is now considered the Middle East into Egypt and so on from there. And through that, it ended up in ancient Greece.
Mhm.
I mean, she went all over the world. But every time that she went to the worship of her went to a new country, her name changed a little bit.
Okay.
And so the name we end up with, Lilith, was actually given to her by the Hebrews, the early Hebrews,
Mhm.
pre-rabbinical Jews.
Okay.
So they were Semitic people,
Mhm.
and they had a language pretty much in common with some of the other countries that were in that area. And there was a lot of back and forth between the countries, and so they borrowed a lot of things.
Mhm.
And anyway, so then when by the time we get to Jewish literature and folk tales, mythology, then you have this humongous mythology around Lilith that was a little bit borrowed from other places and a little bit made shifted to fit their views of the world.
Mhm.
But her being Adam's first wife was one of them. There's also the view that she came to be at the same time that Yahweh came to be. And I've just gotten in trouble with people who are not supposed to say that word, I guess. But
What's
anyway.
that? Oh.
Yahweh. Okay, so Yahweh came out of the light,
Mhm.
and since you can't have light without shadow,
Mhm.
Lilith was born out of the shadow.
Oh, okay.
So, and there's a lot more complicated belief systems. There's obviously they weren't one monotheistic people back in those days,
Uh-huh.
and they're not even monotheistically the same now. Just
Right.
like Christians aren't all the same,
Mhm.
you know. So
Right.
I have no judgment about that.
Yeah.
It's just that we have stories that come from different places.
Hmm.
The Kabbalists had different stories about her than the rabbinical leaders did. So, but there's a lot of stuff that most of what we have now that is available does come from the Jewish literature. So we have to thank them for that because they did hand that down, even though they called her a demon.
I was just gonna say that.
Yep. I so did.
Or they called everybody that wasn't their god a demon.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. Oh, jeez. They call Transformers demons in my freaking church. It was ridiculous.
So they are. They changed from robots to cars.
And they speak.
Wait a minute. Transformers are demonic?
in the church that I grew up in.
Pokemon too.
Oh my
anything
gosh.
non-secular. I couldn't listen to secular music. I couldn't read non-biblical
So
books.
how did you turn out so cool?
I rebelled. I rebelled.
You don't have to say that about him.
Well, honestly, I mean that's kind of like it all started at the same time I got into this whole paranormal thing, and I was having stuff going on at home. I knew I couldn't talk to my parents
Right.
because if I told them, I'd be dragged up immediately in front of the whole congregation and being prayed for.
Would you have an
Same.
exorcism?
I don't know about the evangelical church. I don't know if they did that, but
Oh, okay.
they would pull you up in front and
That was embarrassing, I'm sure.
oh yeah, oh I got caught smoking at Bible camp.
How dare you?
Is that a movie?
I'm not even kidding. I used to.
One day
my-
at Bible camp?
Yeah.
Were you like 10?
This one time in Bible camp. No, I mean I was 13.
Oh, okay.
And I
That's
was
better.
I didn't even. I mean
I don't need to be underage.
Yeah. But one of the counselors who was a youth minister caught me and a couple of the other kids. I didn't bring them, but I was like, I smoke at school. But
So was that a sin?
Oh yeah. Which is weird because I knew I know some we had an ashtray outside of our church. But God forbid a little kid, experiment.
Oh my gosh.
Suddenly they're touched by the devil.
I am going to say that's pretty much, I think, still not the church way,
Yeah.
but a little kid experiment with cigarettes. It's probably still look.
I mean, I know it's true. But I was 13. I was at least a teenager. And
You were of age.
I didn't touch another one until I was at least 14.
Yeah, good.
At least 14.
And that was a whole other impressing a girl scenario.
We've all been there. Yeah.
So do you smoke? On a little hike at somebody's birthday party. Hey, do you smoke? Yeah, sure. back in the day.
You have to be cool.
Yeah.
Right?
But no, that's the kind of church I grew up in. I had nobody to talk to.
Your ghost sister says it's breaking up bad. I'm just letting you know. I don't know if there's anything you can do about it.
Audio?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it the audio, Ghost Sisters? Who knows? Just keep going.
Oh, yeah. They'll all come out and watch. It's got to be going. I won't say it. Just clear it up. I mean, it's sounding kind of muffled now. It feels like it. I don't know. It's all this energy in this room.
I think it's Facebook censoring your smoking story. Actually,
Maybe.
Oh,
There you go.
oh.
You know, a little kid smoking.
Facebook.
We've said too many
condone.
bad things.
I don't condone 13-year-olds dabbling in cigarettes.
Well, I mean, they gotta do something.
Yeah, right. I grew up in the
It's better
country,
than
so.
sex, right?
I'm not answering that.
I think that's why I said it to you.
So if you guys are, if it's coming through muffled, I apologize. I don't know what's up. We're having a good time anyways. And yeah.
Mhm. And that's all that matters is we're having a good time. You guys are just along for the ride.
No, I mean, there's still quite a few viewers. We're fine. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I grew up. It was called the Assemblies of God.
Oh, I've heard of them.
Yeah, very.
Do they speak in tongues too?
Yes, they do.
Oh,
Yep.
see, as a child, I went to, it may not have been Assemblies of God, but, I was a teenager too. And I was interested in this boy. It's always a boy, isn't it?
It's always a girl.
So,
You
so
just get each other in trouble.
yeah. So, he invited me to go to his church, and
Wow.
I was never so terrorized in my whole life because people were having seizures and like laying in the aisle having seizures,
Oh, yeah,
not
yeah.
just like thrashing a little bit.
Uh-huh.
They were like the whole aisle was full of people having seizures, and I was like, "This is not right."
Oh yeah.
That doesn't sound right.
Is this supposed to happen? He said
Churches are you guys going to?
He said, the Holy Spirit touched them, and I'm like,
Yeah. Well, see, I knew there was something up because
away from me.
when it was time for them to speak in tongues it was always the same lady. I think it was the one lady who actually knew Latin. She spoke in Latin, and then there was always the same gentleman that I think was her husband or somebody that sat next to her
wow.
would start speaking out. I'm like, this is.
They practiced it.
Yeah, I'm like, this is rehearsed.
In the mirror.
Yeah.
This is the same time. They said the same thing every time.
I didn't understand the Latin, but no, it was different versions of kind of the same thing. But it was, what's that?
Angelic language.
Yeah, it was strange.
Like
to me.
Enochian?
No, it's
Not Enochian.
I have no idea.
joking. There's a number of jokes in
It was a bad joke. I'm sorry.
That's what we specialize in.
it. My
Bad jokes.
sister belonged to a Catholic version of that. And I find that very interesting. She drove me through that too. And I was just like trying not to laugh because I was 13 as well. And I really thought my sister had lost her cookies. I was like, what the heck is this stuff? I grew up in the Catholic Church and I've never seen any nonsense like this. And,
Right.
And I was just like, she was like, you don't know. But I had a very interesting experience with that church and being blessed by the Holy Spirit and stuff. It was physical.
Yeah.
And I could physically see the light
Right.
that was cast down around me.
Yeah.
So at that point, of course, I was like, no, I think I better become a witch because I think there's something to this magic stuff.
Yeah.
And I felt like they were working with magic energies that they didn't really know what they were doing.
They didn't understand.
Right. They didn't understand it.
Well, and so often people think it's okay if you say bad things in prayers.
Like my mother with the black candles.
Yeah,
What
it's
are you
okay
doing?
because you're praying to Jesus to say bad things,
Right.
And that's the thing that I like about witches and Wicca because, they're responsible for if they do bad things. It's their own fault.
Times 3.
Having a problem on the radio end too.
Oh, really? All right.
It's Lily, I have to tell you guys, it's all Lily's fault. She gets
Um,
into mechanical stuff and it's all over.
Sarah said it's silence.
Silence? What the hell?
Okay, let it work.
Just restart.
Is this
Lily,
yes?
tell you guys to quit screwing.
All right, everybody, all good spirits. Stop screwing around. And let
Adjust her microphone. Okay, now the buzzing stopped. It's like every time something touches that wire,
okay, am I all right?
the buzzing stopped.
I just got we're having technical difficulties.
Oh, that's fine.
So we go back and talk all over again?
Yep.
No.
So remember where we were at. Remember what we talked about. We're gonna go over everything once again.
I have no clue what we talked about.
You're not even trying.
It's up to you. You're the boss, aren't you?
No.
No, Goose is the boss.
Oh, who's the boss?
That's a very good one. All right, everybody. If Sarah, if you're listening on Karma, let us know if you can hear better now. Everybody watching in on Facebook and YouTube, let us know if you can.
I backed up a little bit.
Okay.
What is Bray the boss of?
I'm not the boss of anything. I'm technically a boss at work. I'm not even a boss there.
Well, I haven't even gotten typed that we have technical issues yet.
Okay. Everybody in Facebook land, can you hear us better now? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
I'm gonna tell Sarah to get back on and see if she can hear it.
She got bored of listening to nothing, huh?
Oh, actually, Storm has a good question for you guys.
Hi, Storm.
Is there one particular misconception about being a Wiccan they'd like to set straight?
It has nothing to do with Satan.
Okay. I was beating around the bush trying to get to that. But
There is no devil. That's Christianity.
Yeah, it's the Christian God. It's got nothing to do with it.
Well, there's a Satan nemesis in all the Abrahamic religions, but you know, it's with different names and different religions, but that's not a part of Wiccan
Gotcha. Also,
beliefs.
Ashley? Okay, everybody's saying it sounds better. It looks better. Okay.
But I'll just stay right back here then.
Yeah, there you go. This zone. The Lillith energy bubble.
Am I in the bubble?
Do you
Okay.
want to be in the bubble?
And it's crazy because as soon as we fix everything, we got like 10 more viewers.
Oh, good,
Awesome.
good.
I think one of the issues was I had Facebook also opened up. And I think somehow broadcasting on a different site while I got Facebook up on another, I don't know. I'm making shit up.
The technical stuff is yours.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna sit here and nod.
That's not ours either.
I'll nod until you tell me to start talking.
Okay. I actually had another question.
I don't know how to pronounce that. Do you know? Do you believe in Hecate? Hecate?
Hecate?
Hecate. There you go.
Hecate.
Oh, Patrick, folks.
He is one of my patrons.
Hecate is a pretty cool goddess.
She's
Yeah.
awesome.
I do not worship Hecate. She has not chosen me.
Okay.
But I believe she exists. And that's the question.
Yep, that was part of the do you believe is what
I believe.
I believe
Who is Hecate?
Hecate is Ivia. She's the goddess of the crossroads, the three roads that meet.
Okay.
She's the triple goddess. She's maiden, mother, and crone. And she is who I dedicated my daughter to at birth. So
Oh, wow.
that just came out of me after I had her. So
Surprise!
Surprise! Guess what? That happens a lot to me.
When those things come out of your mouth and you go, where did that come from?
Mhm.
Yeah.
She's wonderful. She's a wonderful goddess, and she
She's
is
very
there
popular, too.
when you are born, and she is there when you die,
Mhm.
and she is, to me, for me, the ultimate mother, because she has the viewpoint of a young girl and the wisdom of an older woman
Oh wow.
and the love of a mother.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, how can you go wrong with her? She's
Right.
amazing.
It's pretty hard to.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Encompasses everything that you would kind of want to.
All right.
Yep.
It does. I have goosebumps, guys. It's
Aw.
awesome. Yeah.
Well, good question. Actually, she's actually another content creator on our media with us. She's got her own shows. And
Into the storm.
Into the Storm. I've
Cool.
been on her show. She's awesome. She's got a lot of knowledge, spiritual based knowledge. So
I don't get invited to other shows, obviously.
You don't fit well with others, Michael.
Wow.
they see how we interact here. he only chimes in. He has something smart ass to say. So you can't really ask him questions because he doesn't know how to respond in that sense.
I know. It's true.
Good to know. Good to know.
If you ask me a question, I'm gonna be like,
Hey, dude.
We got to think of a question there.
Yeah.
Now.
Oh, are we gonna play Stump Heisenberg?
all right, I'm down.
You know a little about Lillith, so I'm having
There you go. I'm impressed. Yeah.
Thank you. That's about all I do.
Yeah.
And I didn't. Oh wait,
Somebody has a question.
oh Sarah. I'm just trying to figure out what's on the radio.
Oh, did you respond?
Still only hear like 30 seconds of buffers again. Why is it buffering? It's a radio.
Well, it's internet based, but that is something that I have no idea how to fix.
Okay, start there.
Apologize, sir. I will.
Hi, Sarah.
Yes.
Maybe the recording will play back better.
Yeah. When I transpose this over to Spreaker and release it for everybody on Facebook, you'll be able to get the whole show. The buzzing's done, and Facebook seems to be okay.
Yeah,
So
which is weird. The radio is the one that usually works all the time.
yeah, right. Yeah. So there's something weird, funky going on.
It's all spirits.
What did you do?
Didn't do anything.
She walks with an entourage.
Yeah.
Nice.
Most of them are in the other room.
There's enough of them here, though. Michael's looking for him.
Michael, you're looking for the unseens, huh?
Yep.
No, he just has ODHD.
ODHD.
Wait, what is it?
ADHD.
Yeah.
It's true. I am diagnosed with it.
So
Untreated.
You ask hard questions. Let them ask the questions.
I don't ask any questions. I've known you for 20 years.
Has it been
Oh,
that
wow.
long?
We are in our 20th year of friendship,
Oh.
which I think is
High
amazing.
five.
Yeah.
Really is. She's the
How did you
best.
two meet?
We can't talk about that on the air. It was a crazy experience.
Well, wasn't it?
Sorry.
I'm
Wow.
I'm
intrigued
being
now.
bad again.
I can mute the mics.
It was,
Yeah.
it was at a Raymond Buckland.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
He came
We went to
speak.
see Raymond Buckland
Uh-huh.
at Kent
Kent
State,
State. Yep.
and I met her and
And I was with this
made
horrible
inappropriate
man.
comments about the man she was with
Oh no.
to her
in front of him.
in
Oh,
front
wow.
of him. And remember those things that come out of your mouth sometimes?
Yeah.
And then you go,
What
okay,
the hell are you doing?
I
with
think I better-
him?
I think I better walk away now.
Anyways, that was it was a very auspicious day.
Yeah.
It was a great event.
It was really a great event.
No, he's a well-known medium, correct? Or is
He
he?
is He's an author. He
Okay.
has the little blue book of magic.
Uncle
Uh-huh.
Bucky's
Uncle-
big blue book.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically, but he's crossed over.
Yes, I know.
Broke my
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
You know, isn't there a museum dedicated to him
He
in
has
Cleveland?
all of his stuff that he owned from all
Yeah.
his travels is in a museum in Cleveland. And
Oh, wow.
I have yet to go, but
Me
I would
too.
love to. I've met him 3 times.
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
every single time I met him, I'd stand in line to talk to him, and he would look at me and go, "Oh my God, you have to hug me."
Oh, well, I got the same feeling.
Aw.
And so he would give me a big hug, and so I felt really special. But I
Yeah.
also felt that I, on a lot of levels, followed the same path as him because in the beginning, when I became Wiccan, I had to have all of the cool things.
Yeah,
The cool
yeah.
knife, the cool.
Yeah, same with us when we were ghost
cauldron
hunters.
and all, right,
When we
exactly.
became- yeah.
All this stuff. And then as I got through it, and met the people, it basically came down to, yeah, I've got a finger. That's my wand, and
Yes.
I'm like, oh, wait a second, there's
Yes.
some sage over there on the cupboard, and
Yes.
just throw that on the stove burner, and do this thing. And he said basically he did the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes, it becomes a way of life. It becomes a way you view the world.
Right.
Like Billy said.
Right.
And you don't need all the trappings. You just
Right.
need to know how to flow energy. By the way,
Yes.
this woman can move energy in a person like no one else I have ever
Really?
experienced.
Oh.
And I have experienced people saying, "Oh yeah, I do this energy movement and blah 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 blah." Yeah, no, you don't. No, you don't. Because Lily can take your arm and squeeze it.
We're talking about energy.
Yeah.
Tina's fault now.
And
I'm being good.
you won't sleep for 2 days.
Yeah.
Because she gives you too much
Maybe it's Tina.
Oh,
We're
No,
getting the buzz.
she's talking about energy. So,
Yeah.
my energy center started lighting up.
Yes. So she is, and she's a marvelous, marvelous healer. And
Tina comes to me sometimes and says, "Do that thing that hurts that makes me feel better."
Mhm. She squeezes my arm real tight. I'm like, ow!
Yeah.
Oh God, I feel so much better.
No. Let's talk about your healing.
Okay.
Your healing ability. Is that like Reiki or Reiki?
Well,
How do you pronounce that?
Lily.
It's Lily.
I have had a Reiki attunement, but that was like 20 years after I started doing energy work. Wow. Okay. So,
Sorry, Lil.
that's okay. I just wasn't expecting to talk about this. That's okay. I can come up with something to say. So, yeah, as far as shamanism goes,
Mhm.
it led me to study a lot of different things, and then I had a number of initiations, shamanic initiations, which has to do with healing other people.
Okay.
And because that's what a shaman's work is. A shaman's work is healing people, places, communities, and if they get enough of them together, parts of the earth, So, so I offer things like clearing people's auras, to cleansing them, to clearing spaces. I do, I guess, a mix of moving energy and acupressure and extractions and shamanic work in the other realities.
Yeah.
And
Soul
so
retrieval.
yeah, I do soul retrievals. Yeah. so yeah.
Mine's gone.
What's that?
My soul's gone.
Your soul is gone? No, it's
It's
not.
outside smoking.
It's right there. It's a little split up. Yeah. So yes, a lot of different things depending upon the person. I studied curanderismo, and I studied healing with a South American shaman who was called a birdman. That's why indigenous words don't translate into English, which is why I use the term shaman. Because if I said I was initiated by a birdman, you'd all go, "What? What does that mean?"
To be honest with you, it wouldn't even make me bat an eye. So,
Because you deal with ghosts.
that's right. Letty has a question. Can you speak about what shamanic initiations consist of and what started you on the shamanic path? Hey, you got it up there.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so shamanic initiations are different depending upon the tradition. Some of the initiations that I had took place in what would be considered like a sweat lodge, if you know what that is.
Yeah.
So it's like a small building
It's a
with
place
rocks.
I will never go.
You'd never go?
I hate sweating.
Oh, yes, you wouldn't want to be in there then, right? Yeah.
I like to freeze, believe it or not.
You're in Ohio,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
there you go.
I like neither.
You like to be just comfortably like room temperature?
I don't
Everything
like,
is
I
room
don't,
temperature.
I'm sorry.
I don't like
I-
cold that much, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So, and some of them are kind of more like a test,
Uh-huh.
you know. So they can run the gambit between a little ceremonial thing to 3 days of you've got a migraine and you're going to not ever sleep for
Mhm.
3 days and you're going to work really hard. And so, yeah, there's a lot of difference there depending upon which path.
Okay.
You know, I had one of the gentlemen that I worked with. He gave me 2 of my initiations.
Uh-huh.
He said that if I had a migraine, it meant I was working.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well, that
he was
sucks.
not very
I mean,
pleasant with that.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're working. You're stretching all those things.
Yeah.
He was an awesome person.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he just didn't put up with whining.
Now, you spoke a little bit on part of shamanism is speaking with your ancestors.
Yes.
Would describe what you mean, what ancestors means to you. I mean,
Well-
to me, it means like my grandpa, things like that. Is that a broader term?
Yes. Everybody that came before you that is directly related to you,
Mhm.
whether it's blood lineage, if you're adopted, it would include that adopted lineage. Because anytime you have family members or blood relatives, it goes back a long, long time. Those are your ancestors.
Okay.
And over time, they become, as you work with them and as you do things to help them, give them little offerings, pray for them,
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, the Catholic Church has this right.
Yeah.
You light a candle, you do the, what is it? Novena. And, that helps the ancestors. It really does. There's a lot of different things you could do to help your ancestors. And in most of the pagan communities, in the pagan traditions, there is a belief that you honor your ancestors. Asatru honors ancestors.
Mhm.
You do the blot for your
Yes,
ancestors. Wiccan traditions have Samhain.
Mhm.
So that's part of a lot of different traditions. It's not just mine.
Yeah.
But I also work as a medium.
Yes,
So I
that's-
work with the ancestors on several different levels.
Okay.
I have altars for my ancestors, and I do spirit circles, what would be called spirit circles, where we elevate everybody's spirits, their ancestors, their spirit guides in the circles.
Yeah.
And cross over people if they need to be crossed over. So there's a lot of different things that happen. But what happens is the stronger your ancestors are, the more they are healed. And I realize this is an unusual concept to a lot of people, that you can heal dead people. But as that lineage of yours is healed, they can do more to help you in this reality. So you look at people who, aren't very nice people, who have really wonderful lives.
Yeah.
They had really good ancestors,
No.
Oh, okay.
because their ancestors were focused in on helping them. And maybe all they wanted was money. So that's what their ancestors gave them.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Although, there are gifts that can be given too. So say your great-great-grandfather wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And couldn't for some reason. That desire may have been passed down, so that by the time you get to his great-grandchildren, a lot of them are in the medical profession in some way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Because that gets passed down.
Oh, wow.
Okay, all right. You're touching me. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. He's like, dude, we should have brought some of our equipment.
I don't know. I got some.
Be good.
One
Don't
thing
make
that-
me seem too crazy.
One thing that Lily taught me was, as a Catholic child, we were taught to pray to God if we lost something. Saint Anthony, help me find this thing. And as she said about the Catholics getting it right, they do kind of, because gods don't really care where your keys are.
That's true.
And so if you ask God to find your keys, you're going to run around your house for 2 hours. But if you ask your ancestors, here's my speech. Ancestors, good and helpful spirits, my keys are lost again. I need my keys right now, you guys. Right now, they're there. Thank you.
They're like, here we go again.
Because they love you. They want to help you.
They do. And it works so much better to pray to your ancestors, to your good and helpful spirits, to your spirit guides, even to your angels. Because they're, in the Bible that I never thump, but there's a little thump there that, that they're man's helpers. But whatever your God that you pray to really is not focused on your lost keys.
Poor Jesus is responsible for the mashed potatoes, the turkey coming out well. He's got so many jobs.
Right.
That's just
Poor
not
guy.
fair to
No,
him.
it's not. And when I started to pray to my ancestors for things that I needed, it started to happen right away instead of not happening, and you have to take the bus to work or call a Uber or something. So it's actually, that changed my life. That small thing.
And it's really easy to do that. If all you have to do is light a white candle, put out a glass of water, cup of coffee, and just say, I'm giving this to honor my good, kind, and benevolent ancestors, so that things may be good for them, so that they can be elevated, and so that you can help your descendants, because I really like that. Thank you for doing that. It doesn't take a lot of words. And then
you find your keys.
I'm going to suggest like a little bowl, maybe a hook. Something.
Well, I did get a hook. I did. I definitely got a hook, but they don't always end up there.
No, I throw mine on the counter. Put the same place on the counter every night almost.
God bless you.
you got to be organized to do that.
Well, not really. I just.
Yeah,
I have 2 sets of keys actually. I'm not
you
lying.
now. Absolutely.
I did, but I lost the spares.
Oh, you're in trouble.
My wife only has 1 pair, and I'm definitely afraid that she's going to lose them one of these days.
I used to
Well,
have
we
one
don't
of those
drive
magnet
anywhere.
things, So let's talk about mediumship.
Okay.
Is this now? We come from a place, the paranormal investigation world,
Right.
where we absolutely believe it's a gift, but it's also a tool for us to, especially if we don't have it, to interact with spirit. Now, is this, when you walk in a room, if there's a spirit there, is it something you can turn on and off, or is it?
I try to block it most of the time because it makes driving really difficult.
I would imagine so. Like driving down.
Especially, if you're on the highway.
Yeah, you don't want to mess around that.
Let me point out first of all that when I do mediumship work, I'm working in this reality.
Okay.
I'm talking to the spirits that are here, and so I've had some really interesting experiences in that. Like I've seen things manifest in the room, and that's kind of freaky,
Yeah, freaked me out.
But I've been talking to the spirits my whole life, pretty much. I Joy, the woman that I co-wrote the book with, teases me that half my playmates when I was a child were dead.
Absolutely.
So, but the craziest thing I think that ever happened is we do these spirit circles, and we had somebody in the circle who was, I thought she was about 45, maybe 50. And she was complaining about being in a lot of pain and having a lot of arthritis and just not being well. And so we decided we were going to pray, which is, we do prayers for her spirits, for her ancestors, and to elevate her ancestors. And as we started working, and we were doing some other things too, but as we started working, she started looking older and older and older, and she started getting all hunched over, and her hands were getting really gnarled up. I mean, it was freaky. So then we finally located the spirit that she was being possessed by a grandmother that had passed.
Oh, wow.
And so we ended up crossing the spirit over. And I mean, this did not happen quickly. So we talked to the spirit and we got her crossed over and got the woman situated again and got everything worked out with her. And then she looked a lot better after the ceremony was done. And the next day she walked up to me and I didn't recognize her. Turns out she was about 24.
Oh, wow.
So she had been dealing with this spirit on her for a very long time.
Yeah. Wow.
And, and her grandmother really didn't want to hurt her granddaughter, but she wanted to be close to her. And, that's the difference between a ghost, an earthbound entity, and one that's been crossed over, because if one's gone over to the other side, gotten healed, they can come back and visit us and be very helpful and provide good information and good things for us.
Right.
But one that hasn't left this planet yet and is stuck here can cause a lot of illness and cause problems with people.
Yeah. Why do you think spirits get stuck in this plane?
Well, we don't do a very good job of crossing spirits over when people die.
Yeah.
Most of the funeral is around not making too big a scene.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most people don't do wakes anymore.
Yeah.
Wakes were very good for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
You could talk about the person that was passed, maybe have food, maybe get drunk, whatever, and there'd be sorry. So we would, we back in the days when we did that sort of thing, people got the idea. They were dead. They were loved. They got energy so that they could cross over. The wailing and the crying and the stories and the singing and all of that helped them to cross over. Now we just say ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Yeah.
Bang.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to go find Jesus. And
yeah,
I was like, what if they can't find him?
That was disturbing me because my mother passed away a year ago, and I felt like the funeral was so rushed.
Yes.
It's like
we have 40 minutes to get it done.
We have an hour to pay your respects. Then we have the pastor that she selected come up and do like a 15-minute thing, and then everybody needs to go and meet at the cemetery.
Right.
I was sitting there just trying to focus on my mother, sitting by the casket, and I was in some kind of zone where I was mourning, but I was trying to remember the good things, and I was trying to be right with it, with what's going on.
It's hard.
And the funeral director comes over, he's like, "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to move on." I'm like, "Seriously?
Yes.
This is my mother."
That's kind of rude, isn't it? Yes.
But he's like, "Well, you guys
the time clock.
Yeah.
Right. We need the church for something else, or we need the funeral home.
Yeah. He's like, "You guys got to move out so we can lower her body." I'm like, "First of all, you're talking about lowering my mother's body.
Right.
I'm not ready for that yet.
Right. Right.
I just want to say goodbye in my own way without people standing around me."
Yes.
And he's like, "No, we can do this at the reception." I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me?"
Well, your mother's body's not going to be at the reception.
Right.
And maybe you need more time.
Exactly.
And maybe you need more than an hour.
Yeah.
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 And getting over the loss of a parent is hard enough without them telling you you're not doing it on their time clock.
Right. Yeah. I was very distraught, and it took a while for that to be closed.
Well, the good news is you can still talk to her.
And I do.
And you can give her a cup of coffee or whatever she liked to drink, cup of tea, whatever.
A Pepsi.
Pepsi. There you go. You give her a Pepsi and
Pour
say,
Pepsi for
Mom, this glass of Pepsi is for you. You know, I really miss you.
Yeah.
You know, pray for her well-being.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I visited her. I visit the cemetery quite a bit, and she finally got her a headstone.
Oh,
So it was, I wanted to see it. I finally got over there and saw it, and I was there for probably about an hour.
good for you.
Just talking.
Good for you. Yeah.
And I'm gonna take her an offering and a gift and leave it there. But
That's nice.
but listening to this is something I could also do at home.
Yes.
By, you said, lighting a white candle,
Yes.
pouring a Pepsi,
Yes.
maybe something that else she'd
Yes.
like,
Yes.
and just chatting.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Absolutely.
cool.
Yep.
Awesome. We did. Sorry, like just
What did we
starting
do?
to get a little.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. We did have a lady named Kathleen. She said, "How do you know that you have psychic tendencies?"
People say, how do you know that? Why did you say that? And who told you?
I think. I'm gathering she's asking that because maybe she feels like she has them. Like, how does she know that she really has them? It's just not her.
Well, test them. You know, you don't have to tell other people, but you can just write something down that you think something's going to happen, or you think that somebody is dating somebody else, and just, write it in your journal.
Mhm.
And then when you find out if it's true or not, go back and look. That's there's a lot of ways to work on your abilities, if that's what you want to do. But I would start with, are you getting clear information? Is this information correct?
Right. Okay.
Well,
there you go, Kathleen.
Good luck.
Test yourself. Well, I noticed, like,
because it might just be random thoughts in your head.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to kind of
Trust yourself.
It is. It's true. You have to trust yourself.
Yeah.
And in order to trust yourself, you have to see if the information you're getting is actually correct.
Right.
It's too bad, because if I could be as correct as often as the weather forecasters are, I would be a millionaire.
All you have to do is look on AccuWeather.
I'm sorry. But like people expect me to be right.
There's a new app, AccuSpirit.
AccuSpirit.
Yeah.
AccuSpirit.
All right,
There you
let's
go.
see what's coming here.
Well,
Okay,
the tree pollen's down.
Grandpa's here.
Hey, Grandpa. It could be a combination. And the tree pollen's down.
Right.
Let's see. We got chance of snow.
And hello.
And
Low
Uncle
32.
so-and-so says, stop drinking that beer. It's bad for you.
Grandpa says, light a candle, pour him a shot.
There you go.
Followed
And
by
bundle
periods
up.
of grandma saying no.
You're going to need a jacket and an umbrella today.
But I don't consider myself a psychic or mediumship, but I've noticed that, I guess the correct word is empath.
Yes.
Like, because of what we do, like, and especially since we've kind of gone, our group has kind of gone a different path. Like, at first we were all like about the tech and let's see if we can get the lights to go off, and we still use that stuff, but I think we use it more to debunk things now. To, like, I don't know how to explain it, but we kind of just feel places out now.
We've evolved.
We've evolved spiritually, I guess.
You've developed a personal technique.
Yeah. Because, I know when I go into a room, like, you do too, you feel like the tingling, and then you feel like kind of the stomach thing. Like, okay.
Feeling the stomach thing now.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not. I told you.
Yeah.
I was in a room with 60 people today, and whenever I usually throw up after those things.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
You need to get your better boundaries.
Yeah.
Well, there we go, and that's a good.
Oh, there we
segue.
go. Boundaries.
Are we going on break, or no? You don't do a break in this.
Usually,
We don't have to. It's all up to you guys.
do you want to break? We can break.
I'm fine. I just
Okay.
think that you guys have just opened up a can of worms, though. Because
Oh,
Well, she's always been talking to us about boundaries, though.
yeah.
I
Here's where I get my scolding.
You should have. They had this show a few weeks ago where they talked about that they don't need any kind of protection
Oh,
when they go
yeah.
into it. See, when they go into a haunted house. And we talked about how it's just because they're intent.
Because you want to look like that woman who was 24,
their
right?
intent is good,
Yes, the
so
intent
it
is good.
doesn't matter, is what they said.
Yeah.
And I'm on Facebook going, no, you're in huge trouble with me. And then later on in the show, they talk about how he gets affected and weird and spacey.
Yeah, that's why.
And you know, and I'm like banging my head on the wall going, it's because you need to learn how to protect yourself. And you will have less heaters moving across the floor at your house, and you will
You have
not
heaters
go
moving
through
across the floor.
these things.
They're
that
trying to
happen
get your
you. It's
attention.
Well,
very important.
Yeah.
It's
I-
not.
Go.
It's not BS, guys.
My demographic is old dead ladies.
Old
Yes, they
dead
love him. They
ladies.
love him.
They
I
love-
can understand. Yeah.
By the way,
yeah.
Tony Santori says the feeling in the stomach is just gas.
Yeah, thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Tony. And he'll say, I got nothing.
Yep, I got nothing.
So don't let them get away with this. Give them a small lecture on this because I've given them one, and now it's your turn.
Well,
You can't lecture us.
okay, fine. All right,
you
I'll
can,
stop
I'm just joking.
talking.
I
I'm
told
just joking.
when I originally posted that she was coming on the show, I did say we were going to be spiritually schooled. So here we go.
Oh no.
Somebody's
No.
got to do it.
No, you couldn't have met two more open guys, and we
There
love.
are a lot of things that are moving around that are the unseens that masquerade as ghosts. Some of them are ghosts, and some of them aren't. And do you want to be taking all of them home with you? That's my first question.
Well, my wife doesn't like it.
Neither does mine.
There you go.
I mean, it would have
There
been
you
my first
go.
choice if I was a bachelor, but
I don't mind.
You don't mind? Do they come and wake you up in the middle of the night?
Nope.
When
just
I
moved the
have that
heater.
Kind, I get them the hell out.
Yeah.
They just moved the heater one day. I was like,
That's because you didn't wake up, so they moved the heater.
well, I was downstairs painting. My wife was pregnant at the time, and she was laying in the bed.
Oh no.
She was laying in bed, and all of a sudden, she just heard it go, because it's one of those like Walmart ones that look like they have the fake flame on there,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the metal. She was like, I just heard it go, and all the animals looked up,
Oh,
and
yeah.
all I heard was, my God.
What did you bring home? It's one thing to bring home a puppy, right?
yeah. That was funny. The one thing I can remember, there's only been like one major instance where there's the very good possibility I brought something home. We just done an investigation in Madison. I come home, and for like a week after, my wife was talking like, I keep hearing these noises upstairs, and as she's talking about this, I hear a little girl giggle and running around
There you
upstairs.
go.
And I'm like, it's got to be one of the girls because I have two daughters.
Mhm.
And, you know, this was years ago, and they were still kind of like not wanting to go to bed and messing around. It's got to be one of the girls. I'm going to sneak up there and, you know, catch them in the act.
Yell at him.
Just yelling doesn't do anything.
I know. I'm sorry, starting to learn that.
They have
I'll very
have
sternly
daddy's
suggest they go back to bed.
buttons, Yeah.
But I go up there, and they're both sound asleep. I'm like, oh, shit. And I'm like, I know I'm in trouble and I just looked around the corner because we live in a multiple level house where it's just like a few steps up to the bedroom from the main living room. So my wife could see my reactions to all this going on, and I look down, and I'm like, like one of these like shrugs and a smile. She's like, "You son of a bitch!" Oh God.
So
So as I'm walking downstairs,
wards on your house would prevent that from happening.
what was that?
wards on your
Wards
house.
on your house. Then if they can't get into your house
Yeah.
unless you invite them,
Right.
then they can't come in and pretend to be kids in your
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
See, pretend to be kids is the key to that.
Yeah.
You know,
They may or
answer.
may not be
Right.
a child spirit.
The thing that makes me think that it
The
wasn't
may
a child.
not
Yeah.
is the problem.
There was, and I was like right after I did the whole thing, and she's like cussing me out because I brought something home. Like, okay, sorry, I'll figure something out. And I walked downstairs, and immediately I heard the giggle again. This time I heard running on the roof,
Great.
and that's what really freaked the hell out of me.
And you think your intent of going into these houses
Right,
because you
right.
are pure of heart.
Right. Will prevent
and
them
the
from coming
wolf
home with
thing
you.
and all that
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of stuff.
Oh, that was earlier on when I was unexperienced.
Okay, here's
I
what
don't go in
weeks
pure
ago.
as heart.
earlier on.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
All right, we got to work on it, man.
I'll be covering you guys in lives.
Okay.
Okay,
and
here you
helping
go.
with it.
If you are in the middle of the night,
Uh-huh.
you're standing in a dark field and you hold a flashlight, who is everybody going to look at?
The guy with the flashlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom.
All right.
Well
Yeah.
done. So, so you walk into
Good job,
these
man.
houses, especially if they're empty
Yeah.
and haven't been lived in a while,
Uh-huh.
and they go, oh, look, it's a live one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't mind them. Kate doesn't
Yeah.
like them.
Well, you don't mind them until you get one that's not so good. Like I had one that completely sucked the life out of me. I could barely walk through the house, and
Yeah.
God bless my daughter Katie, who's Mom, get over here, dragging me through the house, sticks me in front of the stove, and we had an electric stove, and she would just turn on the burner, and we would just throw a handful of sage, cooking
There you
sage,
go.
on
There
the
you go.
burner, and
Yep.
just be like, I talked to you about that before,
Yeah.
Yeah.
making a
Or you could
new Ronco, smudge-o-matic.
Yeah.
Smudge-o-matic.
And
Kate just tells me, she goes, send them back.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
But
do.
and I'm glad that works for you. Yeah.
They're the only ones that listen to me.
But
Well, it's no wonder you
what,
like
are
them
you
at home
gonna, what are you
then.
gonna do when you get one that doesn't listen?
Oh, they won't have to battle.
There you go. Okay. Do you have a katana or something that you use for that?
I have a spiritual sword.
Yeah, I was gonna say it. That was the first thing that popped in my head.
I know you and Tina
I couldn't get it out.
have a sword. A spiritual sword.
I couldn't get it
I know,
out.
battle you to the end.
Oh, but you're blushing anyway.
Oh, that damn video.
Oh,
I always blush.
is that the okay?
I guess, I mean,
All right, fine. I'm believing that one. Okay. Mhm.
well, I mean, I guess as an investigator though, who's like trying to figure things out, how do you
balance that? Is that
how
what
do
it
you balance that? So you're protecting yourself, but you're still
Still getting
open
it.
to.
Well, you can still feel it. You
Yeah.
just set it up so that your body is protected, so they can't
Mhm.
attach to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or so that you see or feel,
Yeah.
but you are not influenced by them.
They can't stick to you.
Okay.
That
You become Teflon.
yeah,
I got you.
yeah.
Non-stick surface.
Only
Yeah.
better because you don't scratch.
Right. That's so much better.
Right.
That the show that used to be popular on TV, and I won't say the name of it, that everybody always liked to watch, and they would go and they would go find the ghosts and places, and I always felt bad for the ghosts because
They were mean to him.
But if they were really mean to
I know
them,
what show you're talking about.
Yeah, we know.
And it was like, I'm like,
It's still popular, unfortunately.
yeah, I mean, they're stuck there, and
Yeah.
And do they want to be there? I'd get mean too if I couldn't leave that room.
True.
Well, and the ones that say "help me,"
Yes, that's
they
always
break
so.
my heart.
I know, I can't watch the show.
Yeah.
It's like they're asking for help and you're walking away. Why?
Yeah, that always drives me nuts when they ask for help.
Yeah.
Okay, I got off topic. I'm sorry.
No.
No, we were talking about mediumship.
Yeah.
This is how this show rolls.
Oh, good. Good.
We have the notes.
I'm
but-
surprised that we actually have notes.
Yeah, right. Right now, they're just kind of for show.
Well, I actually read them, but that.
Well,
But-
see, there are things I'm supposed to talk about,
Yeah.
and if I don't mention them, I'll be in trouble.
Okay.
Who?
A higher power.
All right.
What are the higher powers telling you to mention?
There's notes.
Okay.
Well,
Come
I
on,
do.
Ray.
I
We're a
do.
professional show.
I do have to mention that I also teach at the Midwest Shamans Conference,
Yes.
which is every year
Mhm.
annually. It's being held in Northern Ohio this year
Oh, wow.
in
Okay.
June.
Okay.
And I also teach at other venues.
Mhm.
So you just gotta plug my name in and see what comes up, and
Okay.
go to my website, and
Gotcha.
if my calendar's updated, you'll know where I'm going to be.
Okay, cool. Now I know you do offer psychic readings.
Yes. Lots of different kinds.
See tarot card readings,
Yes.
spiritual path readings, which I'm interested in,
Yes.
shamanic oracle, animal totem is something that I've been really interested in.
Yeah.
I sort of understand it. Can you explain it more?
Yeah, can you explain it for the listeners that don't know what you're talking about?
With
Asking me
So each of us have an animal spirit that comes in to help us.
Okay.
May stay with us our whole lives, may not. Okay.
Hmm.
Shamanically speaking, if you have a good relationship with your animal totem or your animal spirit helper, those are kind of two different things, but that's getting technical. You will be a healthier person. Now, you can see this by you've been in somebody's house and they have the Holstein cows all over their house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And we kind of look at it and we go, wow, that's a lot of cows, right?
Yeah.
Or the people who collect frogs,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
elephants,
Mhm.
you know, this is kind of how in the mundane world it's viewed. People see it, they like the animal, so you know,
Kind
so
of.
they get it.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a collection of them. So what the animal totem reading is, it determines who are the animals that are helping you right now
Okay.
and what they want you to know.
Yeah.
So they might have lessons for you.
Right.
The belief is, and I believe this, that animals all have something to teach us.
Okay.
We tend to separate ourselves off and say, as people, we know more than the animals do.
Yeah.
But really, that's not necessarily true.
Mhm.
In a lot of cases, it's not true at all.
Mhm.
Okay. If you want to learn about love, you know, an animal is going to give you love. And even if you treat that animal poorly, like you forget to feed it in the morning and you go to work and you come home, the dog still loves you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He might be whining, he might have chewed up the pillow, but you know, he still loves you and he's going to greet you at the door and be thrilled you're home.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, you forgot to feed me this morning.
Right. Yeah.
But first he's going to say, I love you, I love you, I love
Mhm.
you, right? You know?
Yeah.
So all of the animals have something to teach us.
Yeah.
And the purpose of that reading is to determine which specific animals, and usually there's a couple, 3, maybe 7 that want to give you a lesson during that reading. Sometimes it gets pretty intense because the lessons can be about anything, you know.
Right.
So it might be about whether or not you're getting enough sleep at night.
Yeah.
To if you're on the right path spiritually, or if you're doing the right type of work. So there's a lot of different messages that can come through that way.
Okay. So I want to just throw out an animal because it's something that
Test the woman.
Yeah, no, it's something that I've been like, so you're saying if you're like obsessed with an animal, like a certain animal, that might be, there might be a totem connection.
Right. That might be the animal that has decided to be with you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the difference is that you can have a family animal, like an animal that watches over a family. Those are similar to the tribal animals that the indigenous people have.
Okay.
Or you could have one in particular specific for you.
Yeah.
But you know, they are there to help you.
Yeah.
Whether you know they're there or not.
So how does the reading work then? Like how do you connect with that totem animal?
Well, I do have cards I use for that have pictures of animals on them, and I ask the good ancestors and the good spirits to help us in the reading. I do a prayer. I ask that there be good messages for you, truthful messages
Yeah.
for you, and I do the reading.
Okay. Something that an animal that comes up for me off, something I've always been like fascinated with is a bear.
Okay.
Grizzly
all right.
bears, black
Uh-huh,
bears, just
uh-huh.
the bear in general.
Right.
And it's interesting because I've always kind of felt a connection to the bear. And it was the weirdest thing. Tina the other day, she messaged me that she actually had, here she is. She had a, do you want to tell her about the dream more in depth? But
Sure, I had a dream that Goose was standing in a forest and he started singing.
Oh, cool.
And when he started to sing, this huge old bear came out like from behind this tree and just listened to him.
Nice.
And
Nice.
it was beautiful. And I mean, Goose and I are still getting to know each other. I had no idea, number one, that he had a bear totem, and I had no idea that he sang. Oh, actually, maybe I did when you sang because I saw you sing to your wife.
Oh, yeah.
Video.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a long time ago,
Mhm.
but yeah, it was a very cool dream. And I told him, he was like, yeah. I always thought the bear was possibly my totem. I'm like, yep, you need to sing when you speak to him.
That's awesome.
And
It's very good advice. It's very good advice. You know, and the bear does have to do with a couple of specific things without going into a whole lot of personal detail or anything. But the bear has to do with connection to healing plants and healing foods.
Yeah.
And also with sleep. I mean, that's kind of obvious because they hibernate.
Yeah.
But so you could have a lot of things that happen with your sleep cycles. Times of the year where you want to sleep more than other times of the year.
Yep. Right now.
There you go. There you go.
Like I do not feel like I should be awake at the moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they are a really big totem animal. I mean, other than just size, they're really big because they have a lot of specific powers associated with them. And especially depending upon which bear it is, that location of the country that bear is found in may really speak to you.
Okay.
You may find yourself being drawn to areas where bears are.
Yeah.
Like, do you go to Cook Forest in Pennsylvania?
Yep. And I've saw a bear quite a few times there.
You're probably seeing the only one.
Yeah. They're following me out to Ohio because they're migrating out here now.
There you go.
There've been sightings all over Trumbull County lately of black bear.
Yeah.
But I saw a few, actually twice I saw a black bear when we were hiking through Cook Forest, actually.
Wonderful.
And you know, I hate to say this, but I'm a hunter. But for some reason, like my friends will like, hey, we're going on a bear hunt. I'm like, I can't do it.
Well, bears are omnivorous, so they eat meat. If they come across something that was killed in the forest, that's an animal, they would eat it. So
they don't taste good, is where she's going with that.
Yeah.
It's not a food animal. There's no reason to kill it.
You have to be pretty darn hungry to want to eat a bear.
Yeah. Oh, you know, and I watch the shows because I'd watch a lot of shows about like Alaskan homesteaders, you know, and they're, you know, they hunt bear and keep the meat. And I'm like, I couldn't, they're just so beautiful. Like, and I know they could be ferocious when they need to be.
That's actually really common.
Yeah.
That you are, if you work with the deer totem, you don't want to eat venison.
Okay.
You know, it's actually really common that you have that reaction, or you don't want other people to hunt the animal that you're associated with.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just love sitting back and watching them. Like my wife, like when we take the kids to the zoo or at the whatever bear exhibit it is, I'm just like watching them. I can just sit there and watch. You guys go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm watching the bears.
And that's a very accurate way to tell which animal you have a connection with, especially in kids. When you take your kids to the zoo, bear, by the way, are very connected to their children.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
But if you take your kids to the zoo, you know, where do they want to go? Of course, they want to go two different directions, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, but you can learn a
Usually
lot.
the concession stand for the space dots.
There you go. But you can learn a lot by which animal they want to see first. You know.
Yeah, we had to really pull my youngest daughter away from the elephants. She just wanted to stay there.
Yeah.
Should've
And it's
watched it
so
for hours.
boring after about an hour.
I think Eliza's connected on different levels all over the place.
She's just very
Very like she loves animals. She loves
animals. She's constantly singing.
That's
Like,
awesome.
and I love hearing her sing, but
Awesome.
sometimes it's like, okay, we're at the movies. Enjoy.
No singing in the movie.
Right. But, and I hate, because I love music and I sing a lot too. And, I hate like calming her down, but, sometimes. But yeah, she was like, and she was real tiny. I think that one time she was like crying hysterically because we wanted to move away. She's like, I want to watch the elephants. I'm like, they're just standing there. Let's go watch the bears. I want to go watch the bears.
I had a child that was into the elephants too.
Yeah.
So I totally understand.
Yeah.
They would have those benches that you
Yeah.
could sit and watch
Yeah.
the elephants, and
Yeah.
I'd be sitting there going,
Yeah. I've always been
Can't
really
go to
drawn to
sleep.
animals basically that live like towards Arctic climates. Very
But I mean, seriously, what do they do?
Yeah.
Like they're not moving.
Right.
They're eating their food.
Yeah. I actually felt bad for this one bear because he was like right on the edge of the enclosure, and there's one of those deep pits that bordered the whole
yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah.
I thought the guy was just gonna jump off and
Oh
just
my.
because he looked raggedy.
Oh,
He
poor
was
boy.
like just stalking back and forth, and he kept like leaning forward like this. I mean, I'm sure he's probably looking for food,
Yeah.
but I did not feel there was
He
something
wasn't
right
a
with him.
healthy animal. Huh?
No.
Yeah.
I just zoos
See?
both freak. I love them and they freak me out.
Oh,
too.
yes.
Yeah.
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 When I get
Yeah.
there, I usually get really depressed after a while.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this
Yeah.
is horrible.
Well, it depends on how they're being kept too.
Yeah.
If they have a nice big area
Mhm.
and it looks natural, of course, then people are upset because they can't find the animal.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
right.
Oh my gosh, we went to Animal Kingdom at Walt Disney World, and my daughter wanted to see the tiger so bad, but it was such a huge expanse of an exhibit, and only one tiger.
One tiger. Wow.
And it was
Wow.
mixed in with like, and I was surprised because it was like, you would think there'd be anarchy, like these tigers would just be eating everything that's in this area, but there was a tiger out there somewhere. Like every couple of minutes,
Wow.
do you see the tail? My daughter would like trying to squeeze between people. Where is it? Where is it? Like just.
Oh no.
Take her to the Akron Zoo. There's lovely
Oh yeah,
tigers.
they actually we get them season passes every year.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah,
I love the
yeah.
Akron
yeah, with the
Zoo.
passes that are actually good for all the different. Like we can go to Cleveland on the pass. We're going to Columbus.
Oh, I gotcha.
We're
Nice.
planning a weekend trip. We're going to Columbus.
Nice.
We're going to go to the zoo. Probably hit COSI and all that. But they're big. I've never been to the Columbus Zoo.
It's a wonderful zoo.
I've heard it's pretty cool. But yeah, now we're talking
See,
about zoos.
I know.
Yeah,
We are definitely off topic now, I think.
Visit your local
Yeah.
We went
zoo.
from animal totems to zoos.
So how would I
seems
honor
like a natural progression to me.
Yeah.
going back to the totem? The bear. I'm pretty sure I feel connected to the bear as a totem. How do I honor that?
Well, there are a lot of ways that you could do that. Obviously, you can start by having a picture of a bear, praying for the health of the bear, donating to an organization that
Sure.
works on bear habitat.
Oh, okay.
There's lots of different things that you can do.
Yeah.
And, have a little bear statue.
Yeah.
And whenever you see it, just, send out some good energy to the
Mhm.
bears for their health.
You mentioned something about a bear bone
Mhm.
pendant, or
I spoke to my Native American friends about.
you okay?
I thought that you should have a piece of a bear toe,
Yeah.
something from his foot,
Mhm.
because it would help you walk with the bear.
Yeah.
But my native friend said, nope. He doesn't get anything from his foot because they fight with their feet.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
And so he has gotten you some fur.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
Wow.
Nice.
He had surgery today, so he will.
okay.
I'll see him in a week or two.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. So I feel more connected.
Yes.
You're more.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we'll get you a little leather pouch and stuff, and you
Okay.
can make yourself a little
Yeah.
medicine
I'm gonna,
bag. where you
apparently, I
carry
need to. Yeah. Apparently, I need to find some bear songs.
Well,
the bear necessities.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, Disney already helped you
Yeah,
out
there you go.
there.
I
You know?
think
all the
about that one.
words.
Yeah.
I should know them by now. My
But,
God.
but yeah, I mean,
Disney family over here.
what you can sing any song you like and dedicate it to the bear too.
You
if
can
you like
also
the song,
just
it's probably going to like it.
Sing what you need. sing
Yeah.
your appreciation, sing
Mhm.
your heart.
Yeah.
You know, you can just sing.
Actually,
And
didn't know this, but actually people are chiming in about this totem.
Oh, cool. Look at that. See what happens. Mike goes away and we need him.
Yeah. You guys can be on every week. He can sit on the futon. Rowena says that she went hunting with her dad, but only wanted to take pictures rather than kill. That makes sense.
I like that
Beautiful,
idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do enjoy venison though.
I do too.
Yeah.
Well, you're
yeah.
not working with deer, so.
The only things I've really hunted are venison and rabbit. I do.
Rabbit's not even
I
worth
can't.
hunting.
Yeah, I can't eat rabbit.
Yeah, you need a
It's like-
lot to like actually have a
It's-
decent meal.
Yes, yes.
I did squirrel hunting once, and I'll never do that again.
You
because
want
I
to
will
eat
only,
a squirrel?
I will only hunt what I eat, and
You
I
ate
did.
it?
I did eat the squirrel, and I will never eat the squirrel again.
Did you make stew?
The way my buddy prepared it, it's no wonder none of us wanted to hunt squirrel again.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's a bad story.
He just basically skinned it and roasted it in the oven.
Oh,
Like,
no.
yeah.
No.
It
Yeah.
just makes me so sad. To me, squirrels are like sacred. I don't even know why I feel that way. I think it's just a deep love of them from childhood.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, growing up in this area, I mean,
Right.
just they're part of the community.
Right.
Letty said she keeps the book Animal Speak by Ted Andrews.
That's a good book.
Right.
That's a good book.
Yeah, she references
Yeah.
it all times about animal totems.
He actually has a second book too, or he wrote a second book before he passed.
Mhm.
Not sure. I remember the name of it. Animal Medicine, maybe.
Possibly.
Oh, okay.
So it's a not as it doesn't have quite as many animals in it as the first one, but it has more ways to work with them, like exercises to do and
Yeah.
meditations and things.
Okay.
I don't even know if it's still available, so
Yeah. She says she has the book Animal Speak on her desk now.
that's nice.
Like she keeps it always handy.
That's nice.
Our
Yeah.
buddy Chris Rowan said he carries a hematite bear with him in his pocket.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, do you work with crystals? And
Do I?
yeah.
Yes. I work with pretty much everything.
That's
Yeah.
something that I've been kind of interested in, and I'm not really sure like what reference to go by because there's so many different books. And I notice there's a lot of different like opinions and beliefs on different.
There's a lot of
There's a lot of
Junk
great
out
books
there.
out there.
There's not
Yeah.
great books. There's a lot of junk.
There's a lot
What
of
do you
junk,
think?
a lot of great books.
Yeah, so it's
Yep.
it's really like you have to think, do you want like somebody who has channeled the spirit of the stone, or do you want to know what the stone is used for, or do you just want to buy a lot of pretty stones?
Well, I guess you just want to buy a lot of pretty stones.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess a lot of my friends in the paranormal community, they carry certain stones for protection.
Uh-huh,
Very
uh-huh.
good.
So how do you know like which stone works for you? I know how I use a bloodstone as I use a pendulum,
Oh, nice.
and it's a bloodstone, and that one spoke to me immediately. Because you do the thing where
Right.
you try them all out, and
Right.
this one
Right.
Answered your own question.
Yes, you answered
Okay.
your own question.
you just feel the energy.
Yes, you
and,
can feel the energy, and if the energy is ucky, it's definitely not for you.
Okay,
If you don't feel anything, do you like my technical term, ucky?
Aki.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
used a lot in our field.
yeah.
when you're talking about energy, ucky or icky.
If you don't feel anything, then it's
Yeah.
it's like neutral.
Yeah.
You
Because a good friend of mine, Nora Custer, she does a lot of work with crystals. She goes to a lot of the shows.
nice.
She makes pendulums, wands, smudging stuff, supplies,
The
and
technical term.
yeah,
Stuff.
stuff.
Mhm.
I actually bought the pendulum off her. It was just crazy though, because I'm like looking at all of them. Some of them were moving, some of them weren't doing anything. I didn't even touch. Like I was going to grab the bloodstone, and it almost as if it like moved into my hand.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and unfortunately, the little piece chipped off on the end. So I don't know if that affects it.
Nah, it's
No,
fine.
it's
But-
still fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still
But-
fine.
Do you think that would be a good stone for me to use for protection, or is that
You'd have
for,
to ask it.
okay?
So, it's,
Just like
you
I
know,
would ask a yes or no question, or
You could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. because it's up to the stone.
Right.
It may want to work with you as a
Mhm.
pendulum
Yeah.
and not as protection. Because, this is the thing about the US. We all want to multitask. We all want to do everything. So we
Yeah, the
kind of
one-
have that view of
Yeah.
everything,
Mhm.
but that's really, everybody's not supposed to do everything.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's why we have specialists and we get,
Right. So a different crystal can have a different meaning.
yes,
So you could
And
carry several different crystals for
Yes.
different situations.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Bloodstone's a very good stone.
Yeah,
for
bloodstones are
protection.
nice.
They
Are they?
also work with electromagnetic energy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's a very good stone for that.
Yeah.
And I think that's so great that it did that with you because
Yeah.
of what you do,
Right.
and the situations
Nice.
Yeah.
that you're in. I think that the bloodstone was a very, very
Yeah.
good choice.
And I've actually had people
Actually-
feed me questions because I have just like a little cheap spirit mat that I bought from Nora. Very simple. And I was,
It doesn't have to be fancy.
no.
Right,
And you could just say yes this way, no that way, and you're fine.
right.
But I was actually having people tell me what question to ask that I didn't know the answer to.
Oh, that's cool.
Just to kind of like, because I was a little skeptical at
Sure.
first.
Sure.
Because actually the group I was with before the group we start now, Dark Alley, we didn't use pendulums. I mean, you weren't allowed to use pendulums.
I
Crystals,
never
any
used
kind of
the word
mysticism.
allowed stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
what is that?
yeah.
Like,
The guy
it's
ran this
like-
like a business, and everything was
Oh.
like you had to come at everything from a skeptical angle. No mysticism or spiritualism.
It was his
Yeah,
clubhouse.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I
Okay.
gotcha.
So like, and that was kind of, drilled into my head but then when we started working with Dark Alley, we started that spiritual part of our journey where we really kind of started connecting with energy and like understanding
Oh.
things more.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, okay, I'll try the pendulum thing. And it's worked for me.
That's nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you use it? Do you use it while you're on a location?
On a location, I've actually used it to find things in my house.
I was gonna say, did you look to see if Kim was watching?
Yeah, she doesn't like. Well, one story about that was somebody gifted her a pendulum, and my wife wants no connection with spirit whatsoever. She believes in it, but to the point where she's not comfortable with the existence of spirit.
Okay.
So she just kind of set it aside. And one day I made the mistake. My kids asked me what a pendulum was all about, and I showed them. And she woke up one morning and they found her pendulum and they were asking it questions.
Oh. Okay.
She was not so happy with me.
Oh.
She's like, they don't know. I mean, and honestly, they don't. I mean, they don't know what they were asking. They don't know what they were, opening up or getting themselves into. I'm like, I don't think their intention, but again, you told me that intention really at the end of the day
Doesn't
is
work.
just a word.
It's a great
But-
idea.
Yeah. I don't even know where was I going with this?
I
But
don't
yeah,
know.
I've actually used it. I was looking for. I can't even remember what I was looking for. Oh, it was so long ago.
My
I can't even.
keys. You were looking for
Yeah.
my keys.
Oh no, I was looking for. Kim had lost a bracelet. She has one of those Pandora bracelets, and for like months she couldn't find it.
Oh. Okay.
So kids and the wife were away. I'm like, I'll give it a shot. And like just drew a box and like very crude like diagram of the house, and just very slowly moved the pendulum over, and it got to this one area of the bedroom, started like rotating. I'm like,
Good.
okay,
Good.
I'll go up there. I had to move some stuff, and I'm like, I was about to give up, and it was laying under a bunch of
There
clothes.
you go.
So
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. That's how
So-
you test yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. Right.
Yeah, but mostly I have used it at like the haunted locations we go to, to see if we can, interact.
Okay, well, if you're
communicate.
using it at the haunted locations to see if you can interact, then no, it cannot be used for protection because
Okay.
it already
Right.
has a job.
Okay.
That's right.
All right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I finally asked.
So is that
a
you mean
question.
bloodstone in general? Well,
no,
not.
that pendulum.
Okay, I
Yeah.
gotcha.
That particular piece.
Okay.
You want another piece in your box.
So,
I
and the
gotcha.
other thing is to look at if you get black stones, they tend to absorb a lot of energy.
Mhm.
So if you do end up using a black stone for
Yeah.
protection, you're going to have to clean it a lot.
Okay, and that's something that I haven't done yet. Is cleanse it. I know you're supposed to put it in sea salt and
Salt
full
water,
moon?
You can do it. You can do it
I
in
just
the
run it under cold water,
okay.
but But then again, we're back to,
a
that.
little Dawn dishwashing
Little
soda.
Dawn just-
No, I don't put any Dawn in it. I just run it under the cold water and ask it to let go of all that stuff and
Yeah.
have it be neutralized by the water. It's the shamanic thing.
Yeah,
you
you
know?
just tell it.
Dawn's for
What are you supposed to
washing
do?
ducks.
Ducks. Okay.
Dawn is for washing and
Ducks.
cats.
Yeah, that's right.
For ducks and oil spills.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, she's right. There are lots of ways to clean them. You can put them in the moonlight.
Mhm.
Some stones don't like being put in salt water.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Some stones like it a lot.
Yeah.
Some stones you got to put in the sun.
Okay.
So,
Fluorite does not
Yeah.
like salt water.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Fluorite's the stone that explodes on me when I wear it.
Oh yeah. What was it again?
It's
Fluorite.
fluorite.
Oh, okay.
Fluorite
Yeah.
tries to bring order out of chaos.
Uh-huh.
I just don't. have it
Apparently
around
she,
me.
Just have too much chaos.
She's just
I can't do it.
channeling too much chaos there. Yeah.
So
Let's
wow.
start doing some plugs, man.
Yeah, because it's
Okay, what do I have to talk about?
we got about 5
Here's the
minutes left
list.
before the next show comes
Yeah.
on the radio.
Okay, so we've got the book. I mentioned the book, The
Yep.
Heart of the Elder, Good Elders and Their Influences, available from Amazon or Barnes & Noble online.
And I will
I
throw
mentioned
that
my
up so people can see it, the
Okay.
picture.
I mentioned my classes through wiccanseminary.edu.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned the Midwest Shamans Conference. What else was I supposed to talk about? I mentioned my readings,
Yes.
I think you
my
hit it.
healing work. Good. I've
Did you
done my
give a-
job.
Give, give another like website address or something.
Oh, my website address
Actually, have
is
here. I'm going to post it real quick.
okay. Good.
Let's say it anyways.
Yeah.
It's Lillith ThreeFeathers, LILLITHTHREEFEATHERS.weebly.com.
Weebly.
That's the easiest one to get to. I also have a blog on WordPress.
Oh, cool. How often do you update that?
Depends the state of the politics of the world.
Oh, is it a political?
No, it's
Okay.
not a political blog, but when I get a little bit over inundated by the state of the world, I don't write on it very much.
I was just
And
talking about that earlier.
And I think I last posted it in October on it, so that's a long time ago. I'm also working on some books, writing some other books now, so that
cool.
means that I don't do writing for magazines or my blog very often because of it. I write for my blog more often than I write for magazines now, but
Gotcha.
I just I'm focused in on trying to get the books done.
And real quick, another comment. Sorry.
Kumquat.
Wheels are falling off. Yeah, it's time. My friend Betsy said she uses the Crystal Bible,
I love
Oh,
that
the
book.
Crystal
Yeah.
Bible is a nice book.
Yeah.
Very, very
it's a nice book.
and she does agree that the Bloodstone is one of her favorites as well. So
It's beautiful stuff.
yeah, I love it. I don't know. I just like the looks of it, the feel of it.
I like
Yeah.
turquoise.
The name's
but
cool.
it's hard to find.
The
real
name's cool.
turquoise.
Bloodstone
Yeah.
feels manly.
I haven't met a stone I don't like yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like granite. No, I'm just kidding. Just making
Well,
shit up now.
I can't wear opal,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they're
I
beautiful
can.
though.
It's my favorite.
And
One
they're
thing that-
beautiful, but
One thing
I
that,
can't
as
wear
far as pendulums are concerned, one thing that interests me, the people that use stainless steel.
them.
is that-
Yeah. Well, there are people who have affinity with metal. I mean,
Yeah.
it does come from the earth, so you
Right.
can do it. But,
Okay.
But and people who have affinity with metal
hmm
would use that.
Yeah. I just
I
thought that
don't-
was interesting because I always thought it was kind of about the crystal and
I don't think
I
it's as useful.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it wouldn't be useful.
Yeah.
But
okay.
But there definitely are people that
there are people
have an
who,
affinity
yeah.
for metals, and
Yeah.
it works for them very well.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're all different.
Mm-hmm. Thank God we're all different. Because I wouldn't want to be like Michael.
There's not many people that would.
There's only
It's
one
a
Michael
very-
in this world.
Yeah, it's a
That's
very
enough.
dark place to be.
Get out of my head, it's dark in there.
Oh wow, yeah, we got like
Yeah.
1 minute left.
Yeah,
so
you
we
lose
got
your
Bye,
mind in there.
everybody.
Yep.
Thank you.
Was good talking to everybody. Thank you for having me here.
absolutely. Thank
I
you for coming on.
appreciate it.
2 hours went really fast.
Yes, it did.
Well, we talk a lot.
That's
Maybe
amazing.
me, I talk a lot.
We
Yeah.
need more guests like her. We'll have you on again for sure.
Oh, thank you. I'd like
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Tina, you're always welcome. You're part of our family.
Sometimes.
Thank you so much.
Should I hit it for you?
I really like Michael.
He is a good guy. I think they're both pretty cool.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I've enjoyed it. Thanks
Good.
for having
I'm
me.
glad.
Awesome. And I guess that concludes another episode of the Cryptic Paranormal Show, Crypto Heads.
Yep.
We're going to be signing off. And next week, we do have a special guest, Steve Hummel, from the, he has a museum.
Okay. Yeah, I got it.
The Haunted Objects Museum.
Moundsville? Or, I mean...
It's down toward, well, he used to do Moundsville Penitentiary tours.
Yeah, okay. That's it.
Also films with a group called Paranormal Quest. I'll have the better information next week when we talk with them, and I'll be promoting that. But thank you again for Lillith.
Yes, thank
for
you.
coming on. I got
Thank
your
you.
website posted. Everybody
Excellent. Thank
check
you so
that out.
much.
Very informative.
I'm going to be checking your book out
Thank you.
and getting schooled, as I said before, spiritually schooled. So this is the Goose and Heisenberg signing off for the night. Crypto Heads, have a good weekend.
Bye.
We'll see
Bye.
you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.